a trip out to the ocean. Gonna leave behind the great big sea. Got lots of friends who miss me all across the country. They can see me on MattTv, on MattTv, on MattTV, on MattTV. MattTV is recorded in front of a live audience.
Joe, it certainly is. It certainly is. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for making your 27th day of February, part of my 27th day. It's a Tuesday here on the West Coast of British Columbia. It's probably a Tuesday where you are as well. How are you? My name is Matthew. This is MattTv, and I want to get back into a regular time slot. The rate now, why we're doing a 3:30 show. I'm going to be interviewing Nathan Delong coming up here in just a few moments. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to try something new on MattTV. We're going to do the split screen because the technology allows us to do that. So I'm just going to talk for a few moments, just get everyone caught up on what's been going on in my life, and please feel free to share what's going on in your life as well. So we're going to do a split screen here with Nathan Delong. First time that we're going to attempt this on MattTV. So in a few moments, Nathan will join the program. He'll listen for his cue to set things in motion, and he will join the show here very, very soon. So just let me close this window here. Go back to my MattTV Facebook page, refresh it, and we are off to the races. Mother, how are you? Gloria, welcome to the program. I just want to quickly talk about a few things that have happened since the last time I was in here, which was like a week and a half ago. I have been completely consumed by the Olympics. So how was your Olympic experience? Nathan, how are you? We will definitely be getting to you in just a few moments. So what was your Olympic experience like? I thought it was great. For me, I had the opportunity to watch so many events live. I'm pretty sure out of the 29 medals that Canada returned home with, I probably watched at least 20 or more of those medals being won live. And I thought it was great. We had a 17-hour time difference, so it worked out really well for us here on the West Coast. It was Olympic prime time every day here on the West Coast at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was watching events live right until midnight, and then getting up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on the event. I just wanted to see everything live, and I'm so glad I did. So proud of our Canadian athletes. Someone put up on Facebook here just a few days ago a video montage of Scott Moyer and Tessa Virtue, who are the most decorated Olympian figure skaters ever. That was a great video. If you're into figure skating, and I am now, just amazing stuff. Dave, I see you're on here waiting for Nathan. We're going to get to Nathan here real quick. So again, it's been a while since I've been in here. So if you have any thoughts, your favorite moments of the Olympics, feel free to leave comments. Thanks for the live views. Thanks for getting caught up. Thanks for watching at your leisure, wherever you are and whatever device you are watching this program on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Something maybe you didn't know, and this is just my final thing for the Olympics. I don't know if you are aware of this, but Canada's bronze medal game, the hockey game, gave us 499 medals. As a country, in the 23 Olympics that have been held, and I think it may just be the 23rd Winter Olympics, was this one here. But since the beginning of the Olympics, Canada as a nation has received 501 medals, with the 29 medals that we brought home this time around. Very good. Very happy of our Canadian athletes, the parents, the coaches, the sponsors, and everyone in between that makes that happen. Good on you. Awesome. Good stuff. I don't see my video here anywhere. Okay, here I am. Okay, just a couple of other things. As some of you may know, the beginning of 2018 did not start off very well for a few people here in the family. Some good news. I've been waiting to share this. We now own a new vehicle to us. It's a Toyota Matrix, so we're very happy with that. It's very economical on fuel and just we don't need a big car, but we wanted a hatchback. So we are now mobile once again. But a big thank you to public transit out here in the Lower Mainland. Phenomenal. And I will continue to use it, but so thankful that we have a car now. We do have a Toyota Matrix. So check that off the list of things that needed to get done sooner than later here in 2018. And as far as my career is going, some of you may know that I was laid off of a job that I had for like 5.5 years, just early into the new year. Hello, welcome to 2018. But I am going to make a serious career change. Probably later today or sometime tomorrow. I will be getting myself signed up for a motion picture industry orientation. Yes, I'm going to get involved in the motion picture industry. I'm not quite sure of the capacity. There are a few avenues that I'm looking to get my foot in the door. But I think this motion picture industry orientation that I'm hoping to get into this weekend will answer some of those questions for me. So I'm pretty excited about that. Pretty excited. I've been talking about this in my mind for many, many years. But yes, I've made the decision that I'm going to make a serious attempt to make a run in the motion picture industry. So we'll see how that goes. But we are totally stoked for the remainder of 2018. February is wrapping up here real quick. But the next 10 months of 2018, we own it. One final thing before I invite Nathan to join the program. Just a happy birthday to a few people that I recognize on my friends list. And if I didn't have Facebook, I'd have no idea these people were having birthdays today. So happy birthday to Leah Young, who's out in Aldergrove here in British Columbia. Chris Crawley having a birthday today. If you see Chris tonight, wish him a happy birthday. Doug Weir, a guy that I worked with many years ago out here in the West Coast, having a birthday. Happy birthday, Doug. Jennifer Watson is having a birthday today. And Keith Robinson, who just made the move back to Nakawick from Southern Ontario, is back there. And he's having a birthday today as well. Okay, thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. I just love the entertainment industry. As a voice actor, this just seems to be the next logical step for me. In my mind, it is. I just love the entertainment industry. So I don't want to have any regrets. So I'm going to take a 2-day motion picture industry orientation and get the ball rolling, and we shall go from there. All right. Okay, that's pretty much all I needed to say. One other thing, the two big stories are the Olympics, of course. The Olympics are a huge story. And the fact that every time Wayne Mason buys a coffee, he is a winner. He's a winner. Oh, this is what I thought today. You know how when you buy Timmy's coffee, the roll up the rim, you either bite it or whatever. If you're a winner, you're going to rip that tab off, right? You're going to rip that tab off and keep it. Wayne Mason, I was thinking of this earlier today. Wayne Mason has won. He must have so many of those Timmy's cups ripped off that I was picturing, I can't remember the actress's name, but you'll remember the scene in American Beauty where the actress is lying on the bed and she's covered in rose petals. I picture Wayne, but he's covered in Timmy's free coffee and free donut stuff. Does that make any sense? That was a visual I had today. Crazy stuff. I hope Wayne's not in here. Can we delete that? No, we're live? Okay, that's my fun stuff right here. We're going to continue the fun. We're going to continue the fun with Nathan Delong, who is the latest reporter for the Miramichi Leader. And so I'm going to invite Nathan to join the show right now. And this is going to be new for MattTv. So what is happening? Nathan is watching the show. So he has the option to join my program. So he has to send me an invite. So Nathan, if you're there, do so. So when you see me doing this, I'm just answering a request from Nathan, and what will happen when he does join the program, it'll be a split screen, which will be nice. So I'm just going to sit here and, like I said, I haven't been in front of the camera in like a week and a half, and it's been very sporadic throughout the month of February. I tried to stay on top of it in January, but just so many things happened. So many things were happening that were out of my control, so I was just kind of rolling with the flow, if that makes any sense. So Nathan Delong, who is in Miramichi, just waiting for a request from Nathan to join the program, and I will accept and we'll have a split screen, and we'll just have a quick chat with Nathan Delong, who just recently moved from St. John, New Brunswick, to Chatham. I think he's in Chatham or Newcastle. I want to say Chatham because I was just talking with him the other day. So I do have a few questions for Nathan. I just went through I was just going through his Facebook. We've been trying to connect for the last couple of weeks. Just some things happening out here on the West Coast that were just out of my control, and with a 4-hour time difference. Without a 4-hour time difference, it's hard to stay. You want to be as flexible, but you don't want to be too late in the night. I know when I first started doing MattTv last March, I was doing a 6 o'clock show, which was 10 o'clock in the Woodstock area. So if I can get an audience at any time back east, that is always greatly appreciated. So just I'm just going to scroll my phone here and see if Nathan is in here, and I shall. There's Nathan there. So I'm just reaching for my phone. Bring Nathan on camera. We're going to do that. So I'm programmed here, and it'll split screen here in a second, and we'll have some fun with Mason. I just love the technology, and I think what I'll be able to do eventually, and I tried this out yesterday morning with my brother Jeff, you can actually go to Facebook Live, and your settings, there he is. Nathan, how are you, my friend?
Good, thanks, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm good, good, good. See, I was just getting ready to explain to people, and this is something that I did yesterday with my brother. For Facebook Live, like right now, we are live. But you can also go into your settings where it's just one individual. So what I did yesterday with my older brother, Jeff, when I went live on Facebook, he was the only one that got a notification. So he and I are able to have this two-way split screen like we're doing right now, and then I can save it. So for all those individuals out there who don't feel comfortable going live in the moment, we can always set an interview up at any time at your convenience, and then I can just post it whenever. Does that sound like a good idea?
Awesome. Yeah, God love technology, especially when it works.
Yeah, exactly. This
on that sometimes rare occasion.
I didn't know this function here must be fairly new, because I know when I started doing MattTv back last March, we didn't have this option here. So this must be something new for Facebook. I don't know.
I would assume so, because this is the first time I've ever used it.
Awesome. So what's the weather like in, so you're in the Miramichi. Is it Chatham or Newcastle that you're in, Nathan?
I live in Newcastle, but my office is in the Douglastown part of the city.
So we're going to talk about why, because you were just recently in St. John, New Brunswick. So I want to get to why the move in a moment. But I was just talking about the Olympics here. I know you're a Leafs fan. So
I sure am.
Just give me what are your thoughts on the Leafs this season, and what were your thoughts on Team Canada, the men's hockey team that was put together, coming home with the bronze medal?
I've watched the Leafs as closely as I can, throughout the season, and so far I'm impressed. I mean, I didn't honestly expect that they would be this close to the top of the league or top of the Eastern Conference, for that matter. I mean, a lot of teams the last few years that have had good seasons here and there have regressed the year after. So it's been nice to see the Leafs continue to make some strides. I mean, they have a solid core in place and arguably the best front office in hockey. But I mean, they still have some work to do on the defense, but they also have some promising prospects coming up through the pipeline that will hopefully be able to make a difference in the next few years, because I don't even know if you were alive the last time the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. I mean, I certainly thought of, my parents were toddlers at the time. I mean, it's been a day or two since there's been anything really to celebrate in Toronto. So here's hoping that can happen at least before I'm 6 feet under.
Well,
as for the Olympics, in all honesty, I didn't watch all that closely. I mean, I watched the coverage and stuff, but I just found a lot of the highlights for me, which would have been like hockey and whatnot, would have been on, or even curling or figure skating would have been on either late at night when I'm going to bed or first thing in the morning when I'm getting ready for work. So I did follow the coverage, though, and I must say that we had quite a success story with Team Canada, across the sports. This year, I think we set a record for the most medals that we've won at the Winter Games. And the Team Canada, as far as the hockey program goes, I mean, that's basically the modern day version of the 1980 Miracle on Ice. I mean, we didn't end up, winning the gold by any means, and perhaps it wasn't meant to be this year, but we definitely, I think, had more success than a lot of people expected with the team, of mostly former NHLers that were, fringe players at best in the NHL. So who maybe had a few productive years here and there, but couldn't make it happen long term. So they, went to play in Europe, and then a lot of these guys, I'd forgotten some of them were even still playing. So it was quite impressive just to see the success they had. And Tessa Virtue and Scott Moore were definitely a really good story. That's actually a story I covered for the Miramichi Leader a week or so ago, was how the success on the world stage with figure skating affects local clubs and how it inspires our own young athletes. And it's really good to see them doing well, and see that hopefully rub off onto the younger kids too.
Do you think organizations like curling, figure skating, hockey, do you think they see an increase in young people signing up after big events like this?
Perhaps. I haven't seen any statistics to back it up one way or the other, but when I spoke to the local figure skating club about it, they definitely were optimistic that the success on the world stage would be something for their own kids to aspire to. So again, I can't say for sure if there is any growth there or not with how well the figure skating programs do on the world stage. But I did hear that with the few good seasons that the Blue Jays had in Major League Baseball a couple of years back, that more kids were inspired to sign up for baseball, and that enrollment at a lot of minor ball organizations across the province was way up. It's a story I probably should have covered at the time, now that I think of it. But
yeah,
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I've heard that it does have an impact.
It makes sense, right? It's logical. It's I don't know. That's just the way we work, right? Everyone wants to hop on the bandwagon.
Absolutely, yeah. What time is it out there, Matt?
Right now it is almost 10 to 4. 10 to
Gotcha.
4.
So it's almost supper time on the West Coast.
Almost supper time. Yeah, a week ago, would have been getting ready for another Olympic prime time afternoon. I'm sad. When the Olympics go, I'm just like, well, what do we do now?
Start watching hockey again.
Start watching hockey again, yeah. Let's talk about, you are the newest resident, or one of the newest residents of the Miramichi. You left the Telegraph Journal in St. John, New Brunswick, and made the move up to the Miramichi to work for the Miramichi Leader. What's the obvious that change?
It's a bit of a change of scenery for sure. A bit smaller city, and the hearts of the city, I guess you could say. Miramichi is made up of several former communities that all sort of came together as one in the 90s. So, it's been an interesting dynamic to see all the identities that those areas all still have, between Douglastown and Nordine and Nelson and Logieville and Chatham and Newcastle, the whole 9 yards. That's been pretty neat, but the way it's laid out, like I say, in the hearts of the communities is just a little easier to maneuver than St. John. So as far as the location itself, it's a nice change of scenery, but so far it's been treating me well.
Is it a slower pace in the Miramichi as compared to St. John?
Somewhat. There's all kinds of stuff going on up here, and it's the top weekly paper in the province, but I say that by online audience. It's one of read weeklies in the province. The market's just big enough as far as the news to cover and the traffic you get on the website. So it's sort of a perfect mix between a daily publication and a weekly publication. So it's just fast paced enough that you're constantly on your toes, but not maybe as demanding as a daily. But there's definitely, like I say, all kinds of good stories and stuff going on up here too. So not a huge difference there, but definitely a different challenge and a change of scenery for sure.
I had a question, and then you said you went into something else, and I just went blank. So I'll come back to it if I can.
Sure.
Let's just talk. We're going to talk about your book in a minute, because that's the main reason you're on here. But just a couple of
absolutely.
Riverview teenager Rebecca Schofield, who just recently passed away. She started the hashtag Becca Told Me To. How did her story affect you, Nathan?
It was really touching, honestly, Matt. I watched a video here just a week or so ago. It's only been a couple weeks ago now that she's died, but of course we've been trying to connect for roughly that time too and get our schedules to line up. But it's touching more than anything, and it's really inspiring. It's sad that it took somebody in her situation to inspire, the best in people. But at the same time, like I say, I just found it really touching. And I know a lot of my colleagues, across the company here at Brunswick News covered that story, quite closely, and it was really, powerful story to follow. And just it was remarkable to see how, I guess, the internet came together, and a lot of the world came together once her hashtag Becca Told Me To went viral. Again, like I say, it's tragic to see that, it took a situation like that, terminally ill young lady for the best in a lot of people to come out. But at the same time, it's been a really good story that's, inspired people about how wonderful it is to be kind. So it was more touching than anything, really, if I was to sum it up in a nutshell.
Yeah. One act of kindness just leads to another act of kindness, which leads to another act of kindness, right? So, yeah.
For sure.
Just a remarkably brave young lady. Yeah.
And I mean, given the situation he was in with treatment, that the illness and whatnot, I mean, it couldn't have been easy to take part in all those speaking engagements and live out, many of the items she had on her bucket list, knowing that she unfortunately wasn't blessed with a long life per se, but in the time that she did have, it's amazing to see how she inspired so many people.
And blessed so many other people.
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt.
How's your book coming along, Nathan?
I'm making really good progress on it. I mean, I've still got a little ways to go, but I'm still hoping to publish either later this year or early next year. It's been a really fun project. I've been chipping away at research a little more in my evenings lately, and it's been really rewarding to uncover so many interesting stories of the past. And I took your advice too from the last time we spoke on MattTv back in the fall while I was still in St. John. I remember you encouraging me in the process of hearing from older residents and their stories and their memories. To chat with my grandfather was a big inspiration behind my project. Both he and my grandmother Delong definitely, influenced me in ways that I don't even know if they fully understand, to be honest. But I did chat with him after the last time we spoke, and got him to give me a rundown of a lot of his recollections of the area, knowing that that's what I had in mind, was to include them in my book, and I'm really glad I did.
Do you
honesty,
audio record anything?
It's coming well. Sorry?
Do you, like, when you're talking with your grandfather, do you put your record on? Do you record anything? Like, I know you're writing stuff down. You like recording.
I have a built-in voice app on my cell phone that I use to record. I probably jotted down a few notes here and there as well, but it was mostly with the app on my cell phone, the voice memos app, and I'll probably just transcribe it from my iPhone at some point and add it to the book.
Well, we haven't spoken. We didn't talk about your book. We did back in September. So for those people that are just joining MattTv here in 2018, just briefly explain what your book is about.
Absolutely. So I've been working on a book. Well, I mean, I started in third year university, ended up putting it on hold in my fourth year so I could finish my degree. And I sort of kicked it into high gear again last summer. But I've been working on a book. It's been a long-term goal of mine since I was a teenager, really. I mean, I'm working on a book about the history of the town of Woodstock, and how the town sort of began, and how, I guess, the greater Woodstock area sort of got off the ground, so to speak, and became what it is today. I mean, the changes it's experienced over the years, different aspects of the history that perhaps haven't been told or talked about as much. I mean, I'm trying to capture as much of it as I can, just because when you think about it, I mean, Woodstock's an area that prides itself on its heritage and its connections to it, as a marketing, tourism boom, as well as just an interesting story. It's the community really prides itself on that. Yet they're aren't many versions of the town's history that are readily available or that have been written recently. I mean, a lot of that stuff's several years old at best, so it's time to compile as much of that as I can. I mean, it's a monumental task, but
Yeah.
it's a time that I've been researching quite extensively for a while. My works cited page is not even finished yet, but with the resources I've been citing sort of as I go, the way I research is I write, and I research a different topic here and there, and I cite as many resources as I can while I'm on that topic, and maybe come back to it later to fill in the blanks. But I just cite my resources, my references as I go to save having to go back and backtrack and find them later. But my works cited page, as I was saying, is already 7 full 8.5 by 11 pages. I mean, it's not formatted into a book or anything yet, but that's just my reference page. I mean, I've been researching this fairly extensively for a while, so I mean, it's a fairly monumental task, and it's not likely possible to include, a full history of the town per se, but I'm going back as far as I can to when the First Nations people populated Fort Meductic, just south of Woodstock. The place is called Hay Settlement now. But it was that area that was once populated by First Nations people, and it was quite a prominent First Nations village one time with the Maliseets from the St. John River, from the Woolastook, as they call it. And it's interesting to note that a lot of that area is likely unceded Maliseet territory as well. But I'm going as far back as to when that area was populated to today, really. I mean, and I'm capturing the arrival of the Loyalists, and as the greater Woodstock area continued to be settled, the whole 9 yards. So it's been a pretty interesting project, to say the least.
Where are you, like when you say you're doing all types of research and your resources, like where are you finding the majority of your info, aside from having conversations with people?
It's mostly been from books and things that have been published on the internet over the years. Biggest thing you find is, like, maybe with years here and there's different takes on it, or there's different versions that and interpretations that some folks believe to be correct at one time. So sometimes when there's a few different sources that say a couple different things on when the year was of when something took place or that type of thing, you sort of have to summarize that there's different sources that say this and that. But overall, I mean, most of my information's been coming from books that have been written in the past, as well as even recently, if there's any context I can get there, as well as online sources on the internet and whatnot. So a good variety of written and anecdotal evidence is being used to put this together.
So you'd like to have your time frame for getting all your information is sometime within the next in this calendar year?
Yes, I'm hoping to at least send it off to be edited and formatted this fall, and perhaps have it published early next year at the very latest. I mean, it's just something I've been chipping away at in my free time. It's not like I'm able to take a leave from work and focus solely on this. I mean, be nice, but it's just not meant to be at this point in time. So I mean, it's just something I chip away at in the evenings and, on weekends here and there and stuff. And, I mean, I have a life too on top of that, but this has been a big part of it for a long time. I mean, I've been studying the town's history since I did a Heritage Fair project on what little I knew about it at the time when I was in grade 7 at Woodstock Middle way back in the day. About 10 years or so ago. Not that long ago.
Way back in the day.
Long enough. I mean, that's half my life. So,
yeah,
it's something that's just intrigued me from a fairly young age when my grandparents used to tell stories. My grandfather mainly, after my grandmother Delong died 11 years ago this month, actually. And that's one thing it's funny I mentioned that, actually, because I just rewrote a bit of the dedication that I'd mentioned back in the fall when we chatted to my grandfather. But I had to add my grandmother to it as well because, I mean, she told stories when I was fairly young, probably before I was old enough to appreciate what they meant. Which, I mean, nothing I can do about that, even though she's no longer with us. But she was a big influence on my journalistic career. It's a long story, but I just had to work her into that too because, I mean, like I say, both my grandparents on the DeLong side influenced me in probably more ways than they can realize. So I had to rework the dedication to include them both. But yeah, I've been researching this stuff off and on though since about 2007, 08. Just as a hobby or in my free time. So like I say, it's been a monumental task, but
Yeah.
that's when I'm hoping to get it out and get it together is later this year, early next year, definitely within the next 12 months or so, just because I've gotten far enough along on it now with everything from Fort Meductic to the Loyalists' arrival, the Orange Riot of 1847, the incorporation of the town, the Island Park story that you've probably heard from when the park amenities and facilities story. We're all on an island in the St. John River at the mouth of the Meduxniqueg prior to the raising of the Mactaquac Dam head pond in the late 60s. Well, I mean, that in itself is a fascinating story and a long story in itself. So, I mean, there's all kinds of angles to cover, and it's I've warned people it's going to be a thick volume. But I'm going to capture as much of it as I can, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'll be purchasing one of those when it doesn't sound like it's a bathroom reader. Sounds like it's
unless you're going to be stuck on the can for a long time, it's probably not a bathroom reader. You're going to need to chip away at it over some time. If you want me to be honest.
Good stuff. Just one final thing, and just thanks for the update on the book, and we'll stay in touch. We'll have you back on the show in a few months, and we'll just stay in touch, and you can keep people posted on what's happening in the Miramichi. But just one final thing before I let you go, Nathan.
Sure.
You're a history buff, obviously. You're getting a book ready on the history of Woodstock. If someone asked you to write a paragraph or a story on how present day would be written about for people, like how would people? What's the best way to describe what's happening in this world right now? You think you could sum it up?
Probably not in a paragraph. You need a few volumes of a book too if you're to describe all the current world events and how things are shaping up. It's hard to do in a nutshell.
Well, let's put it this way: are you okay with the way things are happening in the world? Are you more of a optimist or a pessimist?
I think solutions definitely exist to a lot of the world's problems. I mean, maybe it's hard to figure out what those are, but I tend to want to be positive and believe that there's a solution there somewhere, even if it's not clearly evident, or that type of thing. I like to think though that I tend to be an optimist and have hope and solace in the fact that they'll either work themselves out eventually, or eventually the political will arise to change certain things. But it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah, you're right. You probably couldn't get that in a paragraph.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Even if you were the top in your class, you still couldn't get that in a paragraph.
No, I couldn't.
Hey, Nathan, listen, I want to thank you for your time joining the program from the Miramichi. That was very cool, man.
Yeah, my pleasure, Matt. I'm always happy to chat. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And I always love the shameless opportunity to promote my book as well, which, I mean, I like to think is a good story in itself, but probably depends on who you ask. But I appreciate the opportunity to share that story as well. It's been a really fun project.
Cool. All right. Well,
I'm looking forward to seeing it through.
Well, I know you will. You're the type of, you seem to be busy. I would have figured being a journalist would have kept you busy enough, but obviously not.
It's gotten so journalism's just a day job for me when there's nothing going on in the evenings to cover. It's my day job, and then I relax and chip away at this stuff. Yeah. In a lot of the evenings.
Awesome. Okay, Nathan, thanks for your time. You have a good night.
Thanks, you too, Matt. Take care. All the best.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
See ya.
So we'll just close that. We'll close that. So that was cool. That was the first time I've done a split screen interview, and that was Nathan Delong in the Miramichi. So that was cool. So 5 minutes after 4 here on the West Coast. My name is Matthew. This is what I would like to do. This is what I'm going to propose to you, because anyone that's seen this show in the last 10 months knows that Facebook created this platform called Facebook Live. I created MattTv on Facebook Live as my platform, and I'm offering my platform to be your platform. So if there's something out there that you want to talk about, if there's something that you want to discuss, and maybe you don't want to do it over the phone, maybe your message is conveyed more clearly when people can actually see the expressions on your face. So that being said, you don't have to be live and join the other people that are watching the program. The technology allows us. So if you want to be on MattTv, you don't want to be on the phone, you'd rather do a split screen interview like we just did with Nathan in the Miramichi, here are the options. You can get a hold of me, and we can set up a time where we can record it live, but the only two people that are going to be a part of the broadcast will be me and you, the person that is doing the interview. There are settings on here so that when I go live, the only person that gets a notification is the person that I'm trying to do the interview with. We do the interviews, and then we post it, and we go from there. So that really, I think, might eliminate some of the hesitation. Some of the people might just be a little too scared knowing that it's live. But that's okay. So that option is out there. The option is out there. There are people that I have done interviews with in the past over the phone. I may reach out to them. I may reach out to them and see if they would be interested in coming back on the program and doing the split screen. I know I see James Underhill is in here. I know his dad Brent would probably be up for doing a split screen. I think that would be great. So anyone who's been a guest on MattTv in the last 10 months, I may reach out to you again, but feel free to get in touch with me, and we'll have some fun. We'll have some fun right here on MattTv. Okay, that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for me. Just a couple of things in closing. We have a brand new vehicle, so grateful for that. My career, I'm going to get myself into the motion picture industry orientation program and get into the motion picture industry. That's what's happening for me out here on the West Coast. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for joining me from the Miramichi. Good luck with your book. I'm really looking forward to reading that book. There's probably so much information in there that none of us have ever heard of. So cool on Nathan for digging way back into the history books and doing his job with due diligence. Dave, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the live views. If you are liking what you see and hear, by all means share, leave comments, watch at your leisure. It's all good. It's all good. The vibe is coming back. My energy level is starting to come back to where I need it to be. Been a pretty slow first couple of months of 2018, but we are on the bubble. We're on the crest. We're on the wave, whatever. Give it whatever name you want. We're on a flow of positive energy out here in White Rock, British Columbia. So we're super excited about the next 10 months here in 2018, and you should be too. My name is Matthew. This is MattTv. Now and always, from sea to sea.